I'd like to call the Village Plan Commission to order for Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Eric Podolsky.
Here.
Gary Paul.
Here.
Chris Atkinson.
Here.
Jake Krieger.
Here.
Mike Skippington.
Here.
Corey Campbell.
Here.
And Alan's excused.
Okay, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5A, action on the Plan Commission minutes from August 8th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 6, comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Must state your name and address. You're limited to 5 minutes. The board's role is to listen and not discuss the item. Personnel issues cannot be discussed nor individuals named, and the board is not able to take action at this meeting. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to talk about anything not on tonight's agenda? Is there anybody who would like to talk about an item not on tonight's agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. 7, action items. 7A, action regarding a planned unit development request by Gridiron Entities for a new Cambria hotel located at 2145 South Oneida Street, parcels VA-67-A-8, VA-67-A, VA-460-P-108, and VA-90-4-11. Aaron.
All right, thank you. Let me just bring up my screen here. Okay, there we go. So the requested planned unit development is to allow for a new Cambria hotel to be constructed on South Oneida Street and Element Way. As you can see on the screen, South Oneida Street here, Element Way right here. The proposed Cambria would be located on the far north side of that property. It's currently the Asheville Square office development. The proposed Cambria I mentioned is proposed to be 5 stories with 2 proposed commercial pads. I do want to stress that the PUD and the action for this evening is only for the height. The actual site plan when it comes to parking, exterior elevations, design, so on and so forth, it will be handled separately through our site plan design review process, which, if things are approved, would occur next month. The requirement for the PUD is because this area is currently within the 36-foot height limitation according to the 2007 height map of the village of Ashwaubenon. The property immediately to the east of this property is within the 60-foot maximum height. The property to the west across Oneida Street, the residential area, is 36 foot. So just for reference on that. The hotel is oriented perpendicular to Oneida Street, as indicated to minimize its frontage and the impact on the neighbors to the west. In terms of previous action, the Site Plan Review Committee voted 5-1 to recommend denial of the PUD. Based on that action and some of the discussion that occurred at the Site Plan Review Committee, the developer has requested the Plan Commission table action to a September 19th special Plan Commission meeting, so they have a chance to take into account some of the discussion that occurred at the neighborhood meeting and the Site Plan Review Committee meeting, and see if there's some sort of accommodations that can be made within their proposal to address some of those concerns. With that, I guess I'd be happy to answer any questions that you do have. Otherwise, the development team is also in the audience if you have questions for them.
Well, if we're going to be tabling this evening,
I think, I think there's a whole bunch of information that's still to come, and they need the chance in order to be able to take the feedback and run with that. So I'll just make the motion to table this to a special meeting on the 19th of September.
I'll second that.
Okay,
I guess before that, I guess I would like to mention the development team would like to address the Plan Commission, some of the, just the discussion that they'd like to bring forward to the commission. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time for that.
okay, so do they have to withdraw their motion then, so that the item does not
If-
get tabled?
Right, it will just, if, it's up to you if you want to open the floor to allow them to discuss their,
I don't see any reason to at this point.
I believe we should open the floor to let them have their.
You want to, Gary? Okay.
I would agree with
I'll
Gary.
withdraw my motion.
Chris, you'll withdraw your
I'll
second.
withdraw the second.
All right, I'll move to open the floor.
Second?
Motion and a second to open the floor. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. The floor is open. Could you please state your name and address for the record? The development.
Alex Paternos, 1220 East Fillmore Avenue, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I just wanted to point out the fact, we're kind of troubled by the fact that one of the loudest voices in opposition to our proposal is a group that is part of the ownership group for the Home 2 Suites as well as the Hampton Inn in Ashwaubenon. And we're having a tough time trying to wrap our heads around the narrative that our hotel along Oneida Drive will somehow lower property values for homeowners in Ashwaubenon. But we're looking forward to readdressing and seeing if we can reconfigure our site plan to make this work.
Any other comments from any other of the developers? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment on this. I think it's a great product. I think it's a great improvement to our village, but I sure hope they come up with a plan that we can please our people. It's very important to us. We don't want to see it go away by any means, but you've heard the discussions we've had in the last two meetings, and I think it's quite informative on what they're saying, and I think it's something we got to take in consideration in order to make this work for you too. So we'll be anxious to hear from you.
Okay,
I'll now make a motion to table this item to the September 19th meeting.
I will second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second to table this.
We can make a comment on it.
Nope, we
Okay.
cannot comment once it's tabled.
Prior to the 19th, the gentleman who's just up there and others, I'd like to see them interact with a real estate agent in that area over there and state what their opinion would be if you put the hotel up there. Does the property value go up or does it go down? There's property up by Lambeau that's gone through the roof, you know what I mean? And my question is, what happens? Don't just make the statement that we think the property will go down. If some of the real estate agents can confirm that, fine. I'd just like an answer.
Okay,
Okay.
we have a motion to table. There will be no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. This will be back on the September 19th special Plan Commission meeting. Okay, 7B, action regarding a rezoning request from B3 Community Business to I2 Heavy Industry for a new climate-controlled indoor storage facility located at 480 Pilgrim Way, parcel VA-13741-1. Aaron?
All right, thank you. Haley, could you share the screen with me? I'll bring up the site plan for reference. Okay, in the meantime, while we work through that, The requested site plan is for the vacant property on South Broadway Street, just north of the 172 overpass. This would be on the east side of Broadway. There's a berm there right now. The request is to rezone that property from B3 Community Business. And there we go. There we go, that helps. Thanks, Haley. To rezone this property outlined in yellow from B3 to I2 heavy industry. The request to rezone to I2 heavy industry is to allow for the second part of the action this evening for the applicant to apply for a conditional use permit for climate-controlled indoor storage on the property. For frame of reference, this is Northland Cold Storage, Verhalen, the Aloft office building. Forget what machine shop that is.
Fincantieri?
Nope.
Nope.
Anyway, another industrial building to the south across 172.
Pioneer Metal Finishing.
Pioneer, thank you, Pioneer Metal Finishing. The request does need to be reviewed through the terms of the village's comprehensive plan. As indicated in the staff report, the comprehensive plan divides the village up into different areas. This is the Broadway South Ashland Avenue area, which of course is more of a mixed use type area. In terms of the comprehensive plan, it does identify whether proposed uses are desirable, undesirable, or allowable. In this case, storage is considered to be an undesirable use. However, again, under a comp plan, the undesirable uses can fit within a certain area, provided the context is correct. So again, it's not a hard and fast no. It's, well, let's take a look at it. Does it fit within the context of the area and future plans for the neighborhood? So again, this is for a rezone to I2 heavy industry. The key here is that, or one thing to keep in mind from a planning commission standpoint, is when a property is rezoned to I2 or any other use for that matter, it can be used for any use within that zoning district. So any use within that district is then a vested right. Okay, so they're applying for climate-controlled indoor storage, but again, it can be used for any use within the I2 heavy industry district. As far as what they're proposing, just give you a sense of, again, we're looking at the use. So the site plan, should it go through, would be coming through in October. This is just overall site plan, again, for that vacant property. Storage, drive-through, and some RV and boat storage there. This is an elevation of the building. Again, it's not your typical mini warehouses by a long shot. It looks more like almost like an office building or a large, well-designed warehouse type building. You can see the drive-through elevation right here. So there's a drive-through for, again, the climate-controlled indoor storage. Cars pull through and drop their wares off and then continue on. A few renderings of the building as well, give you again a better sense of what's being proposed for the climate-controlled indoor storage. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we do have a number of the development team online and in the audience as well.
So my concern with this, Aaron, I came in your office and talked to you about it today, is that once we rezone this property, so they put up the storage building, and then all of a sudden, 10 years from now, somebody decides to buy it and tear it down and put whatever they want there that is allowed in I2. And I just, to me, it's spot zoning. We don't typically do spot zoning. And it's taken 22 years, excuse me, to get this down here, to finally start really being a beautiful development. And I just, the building is beautiful. I like the building is beautiful, it's a great project. I'm having problems with the fact that 10 years from now, anything could go there.
And just to be clear, it wouldn't be considered spot zoning because we do have Northland Cold Storage immediately across Broadway
Okay,
and Pioneer Metal Finishing to the south, both of which are zoned I2.
okay.
But your point is still valid.
I kind of agree with Mary. I've seen some of these in big cities. I've seen them right downtown. They're beautiful. Can't take it away from them. But I think our vision in that property was not storage. We've got some beautiful office buildings there. It complements the area for something else to come in there of that magnitude. So, and I myself, I am not for spot zoning.
And again, Gary, just to be clear, this would not be considered spot zoning. I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
It would not be.
It would not be, no.
It fits. That's right. It fits. But anyway, I'm going to go back to what I said. They make beautiful buildings, but I don't think it's the right spot for this one in our community. That's probably the only piece there to develop yet. And we're all looking at something more friendly to what is there right now.
Aaron, can you bring up the layout again? I want to understand, one of my big concerns is the outdoor storage.
So actually, I had logged out of the system
Okay.
so we could bring the cameras up. So the actual site plans, when it comes to the outdoor storage, things like that, we would deal with that through our site plan review process.
But I just, that's one of the things that I could see, because like Mary pointed out, the building in that is all beautiful, but all of a sudden you're going to have all these RVs and everything parked around it, and that definitely would not lend itself to the area. So
What I might, probably, if
Yeah.
you wouldn't mind, we do have some members of the development team in the audience. They might be able to answer some of your concerns if that'd be adequate.
I move we open.
Yeah, this is,
Second.
yeah, this is,
We have a motion and a second to open the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The floor is open, so you can go ahead.
yeah, hi, my name is Brian Fisher. I'm coming from you to you online here today. Thank you very much for your comments. A couple things I'd like just to address quickly. We are not proposing outdoor storage, so I do want to be clear. There will not be any outdoor storage proposed here. All interior storage. Second of all, in the immediate area, in fact, Green Bay in general, this level of storage, which is in high demand now across the country, does not exist in terms of interior, climate-controlled, state-of-the-art, institutional-grade storage. And we chose to go multi-story so that it would fit in with the character of the buildings around it. It's certainly an upgrade from any industrial building that would be built there. And I would mention that right now, probably right up there with student housing, self-storage is the most secure and safe development there is for developers and to invest in. And it's a very successful product. It's a need that people have, and there is a definite need in Ashwaubenon for self-storage. It's not the kind of a product that would be going away in 10 years. It will continue to do well and serve the community forever. And that's why we're willing to invest the level of architecture in this building. This is not a throwaway building, not by any stretch of the imagination. So I'll mention that, and it does bring a decent tax revenue to this village of Ashwaubenon. So for now, I'll quiet up. But if there's any other questions on the storage part of it, I'm happy to answer that.
Does anybody have any questions?
So are you saying that so you're not going to have any vehicle storage whatsoever, boats, RVs, anything like that? So
Not outside. Nope.
What's your target? What's your target storage? What type of things are you planning on storing?
people's goods. Businesses will store boxes, tax records. Sales reps, like pharmaceutical reps, store all the time. A lot of transient. The average self-storage facility nationwide is a 30-day rental. So there's a fair amount of activity that goes into a storage facility. But we're not catering to small businesses. We're not catering to anything that would be stored outside. It would be unsightly.
Then the logic becomes, why do you put what appears to be a very expensive building, and I am going to assume it's in a pretty expensive piece of property, instead of going into an area where it would be less expensive property and you wouldn't have to build such a nice building to store stuff?
I'll answer that question as well. Number one, the demand is there in Ashwaubenon for this level of storage. In fact, Green Bay is in general is coming to a similar conclusion that was recently happening in the city of Milwaukee. It's a great and growing community. Ashwaubenon's a great and growing community. Lots of multifamily, and people are looking for higher quality, safe facilities. That's probably the number one reason. The developer also has interest in the land, which helps. But also, I think most important, the location is good, has decent visibility, and we want to build the gold standard for Ashwaubenon. So if any other facility wants to come to Ashwaubenon, we're setting a high standard. I think Ashwaubenon has a high standard. I think any storage facility that comes to Ashwaubenon should hit this standard, and we would be setting it.
I'm just going to review from a few years ago when Menards wanted to put up a storage facility. And there's a really nice looking building there now, and it took a while to get it. And it's one of those things where you're driving into Ashwaubenon, and I assume there's going to be a sign there that says storage facility. It's not the first thing I want to see when I come into the village on 172 or 41. So.
I think one of my major concerns, just because of the location of this, I would, to me, it lends itself to an industrial park, something like that. We have two areas, and as some of you know, I have been stating in long-term planning in that I think we're underutilizing the waterfront. I think it needs to be, we tend to focus up here at our big friends and around Titletown and around those areas, which is all great, but I still believe that we have an untapped waterfront that we could be developing. And I think, like the Pioneer Meadow thing, I don't like quite where that is. I don't, there's other things there too. I really feel that there's development that could go on there. So that would be my concern, is I would like to see that part of Ashwaubenon actually get developed more into an entertainment type of area. Housing, entertainment, things like that, down along that waterfront. There's money being spent on a bridge over to Ashwaubenon Park right now, and that whole waterfront could get developed much more, and that would be my concern with giving up this piece of property for that. I can tell you I would not be in favor of doing that. I would like to see something more to an entertainment and something that could improve residents and people wanting to come to Ashwaubenon, and I don't see storage being that.
Do we have any more questions for the development team, or did the development team want to say anything, add any comments or anything?
No.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Greg Renault, 4302 Plantation Court, De Pere. I'm here representing the owner of the land, Scott Smith. We've looked at many different projects for that site. We looked at office. Well, there's a lot of empty office space. So the idea of that being an office building is probably quite remote. We've looked at hotel. Well, there's a lot of hotels and there's a lot going up. That more than likely isn't going to happen on that site either. We've looked at apartments, but we also saw those apartments that were just down from there on the river, that were right up against the highway. That took quite a while to get filled, and I don't even know if it's still filled. So that didn't really seem like an option either. This seemed like a very good option simply because there's a ton of apartments being built in Ashwaubenon, and no one has any place to go with their belongings to store, because there isn't anything in Ashwaubenon. There isn't any climate-controlled storage, as far as I know. And I guess that's the reason why we thought that this project would be a very viable project for that site. Scott has owned that for quite some time. He's had it for sale for a long time. There's just no takers. It's next to the highway. Unless it's office, it's next to the highway. What hotel person wants to be right on the highway where traffic is whizzing by and it's only 50 feet from your hotel window?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Well,
Because the office building that was built down there along with the apartments fit real nice there. They wanted that property. And I think somebody is going to want your property that wants the visibility to show off where they are with the signage we let that office building have. I know it's been empty for a long time, but I don't think you got the right buyer yet.
Gary, it's been years. It's been a lot of years.
I agree.
And something needs to be done with it. And I can certainly appreciate, the thought of being entertainment, but for one, that's not on the water. And two, there isn't any other entertainment that's there, in that area. Yeah, you could say that you have a marina there, but that marina isn't very well used because it's too far out to the bay, so people don't want to dock there. So I don't know. It was just a thought that we had, we're trying to get something done with that. And we just thought it was a good service for the community. So.
And I would just like to, if I could add one additional, this is Brian Fisher again. I think this is a 3.2 acre L-shaped parcel. It's a very difficult site to work on as it is for 3.2 acres. So to get much development there that would bring people and to have parking, unless you're doing subterranean parking, it's going to be a tough site to develop, which is probably why it hasn't developed. High level self-storage like this is what people want. 78% of people that rent facilities are females. They want secure storage. That's what the national trends are. And certainly Ashwaubenon would be setting a high standard for the best product of its type certainly in the Fox Valley and above. And I've done a lot of these in the Milwaukee area, this is rivaling work and projects I've done in Milwaukee. So you would be having a gold standard facility that is providing a service that people in Ashwaubenon need. It's a real need. It's also low intensity. There's once these things rent up, you might get 10 cars an hour tops. So it's super low intensity onto Broadway. And there's enough room as we work through this, there's going to be enough room for us to do an outlot. We could get a small restaurant in there. Again, parking is going to be a challenge. But there would be an opportunity for an outlot as well. So I do think it's a good fit given its location. Again, we're biased to that. I understand, but we really would be setting a gold standard for this particular product in this area. And it's something that people in Ashwaubenon need because it doesn't exist. This product does not exist.
Any other comments for the developers?
If,
Well, I want to back up and look at these renderings a little closer. The ones I've seen in the cities of large populations, like I said, were beautiful buildings. I did not see any overhead doors in any of these ones that I've seen. You've got all kinds of overhead doors, and I really think you got a glorified U-Haul building here, now that I sit and look at it. And I don't think that is the most pleasing thing in that neighborhood. I don't know how these buildings sit to the road, but, you know I didn't see any overhead doors in those ones that I've seen in the larger communities. So Go on.
Well, we hear what you're saying. I will just point out that we're here for a conditional use permit and a rezone, and not site plan review. We're all ears to sit down with staff, sit down with the plan commission, sit down with the neighborhood, and if it's the desire of that collection of folks to not have doors exposed to 172 or to Broadway, we're all ears. This is what we think this can look like. This is what we're shooting for it to look like. It may end up being a rectangle and not an L, because we just haven't gotten to site plan. But that's what we're trying to get to with the rezone to I2 and then the conditional use permit.
You know, Gary, when you brought up that U-Haul, you said a glorified U-Haul building, they wanted to go on Ashland, that building wanted to go on Ashland Avenue, and we did not rezone that for that purpose, so.
if we send this down, he has options of going before village board?
No.
So
I don't-
just to be clear, Plan Commission makes a recommendation of both the rezoning and conditional use permit. They both then go to village board with a public hearing for final action. So Plan Commission is a recommendation. The first agenda item is on the rezoning. Second item is on this conditional use permit for climate-controlled indoor storage, sorry. You make recommendation on both of those. They both go to village board for final action.
All right, I'll make the motion. I'll make a motion not to accept this facility with climate-controlled indoor storage.
Yeah, we have to close the floor first, Gary.
And then, pardon?
Could we close the floor?
I'm sorry, still, okay.
Motion to close the floor?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so what you're saying, Gary, is that you want to make a recommendation to deny the
To
rezoning?
deny the zoning for that property, knowing it's going onto the board.
So just so I'm clear, so there are two separate agenda items. So this is for the rezoning right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to deny the rezoning of that parcel of land. Are there any other comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. So now, we'll go to 7.
Can I just make a point of order?
Sure.
The floor is closed.
No,
You'd have to reopen the floor.
Brian, the floor is closed. We'd have to reopen the floor again.
My apologies.
That could be taken up at the village board.
Okay. So 7C is action regarding a conditional use permit request for a new climate-controlled indoor storage facility located at 480 Pilgrim Way, parcel VA-1374-1. Aaron?
Well, the staff report basically just a repeat of the rezoning. This then is for the conditional use permit for the climate-controlled indoor storage facility.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Aaron? If we talked with the development team. Again, it would open the floor, but like Gary said, it will go to village board also.
I'll move to deny the conditional use permit.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to deny the conditional use permit for 480 Pilgrim Way, parcel VA-1374-1. Any more comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. So number 8 is items for next agenda. I'm assuming, that we will have items for next agenda, correct?
I would anticipate it, yes.
Okay,
When you say that, you're
Well,
referring to
we
October.
will actually have the September 19th special
Right.
plan commission meeting. Then I would anticipate additional ones the following month.
okay. Okay, so need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second it.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
This conference